inside you and you are in me. We come together so naturally. There is no reason to think we're not free. We are the wholeness we long to be. Come to experience this reality. Oh yeah, hey, wah, hey, yeah, hey, wah, hey. Yeah, hey, wah, hey, yeah, hey, wah, hey. Yeah, hey, wah, hey, yeah, hey, wah, hey, yeah. Yeah, hey, wah, hey, yeah, hey, wah, hey. So love one another, your heart is set free. Loving yourself, you're in love with me.
But I learned that we have to go through things that we don't like in order to learn what we need to learn in life.
I believe that I am in touch with love for myself, but I also believe there are areas, almost like a hotel, that you're renovating. I've renovated much of this hotel and painted it and loved it, but there are still rooms that I have boarded up for whatever reason. There's creepy spiders and spider webs in there, and those are the doors I'm courageously ready to go into now.
Sometimes you have to teach the universe how to treat you. You could do that by showing the universe what kind of love you expect, or all of that. There's not much expectations in true love though. I think that true love is really desireless. A lot of people think that love is desire, but I think that it's actually the true desirelessness, as in like you don't have any expectations, you don't feel like anything's owed to you, you just give truly, and yeah, that's awesome.
To me, the setup was that I learned not to love myself, but I was supposed to, you know, unutterably love this other person that I would partner with, and it certainly became difficult.
When you can love yourself, I would think that you would open yourself up more to other people, and be more vulnerable, because you know that if something goes wrong, or not how you planned it, that you'll still have someone who loves you, you know, someone to hold you and support you, even if it's just yourself. So.
And that's the one thing that I can honestly say makes sense to me being single for so long, is that I've really been able to figure out who I was, and I don't get lost. I don't get lost in that other person, so I can remain on my path. And so I would say that to people, you know, if there was anything of wisdom I could say to anybody young about being involved in relationships, is don't get lost. If you feel yourselves not doing what you think is the right thing to do, you need to stop and reconsider who you're with, or where you're going, or how important that relationship is, because you can waste a lot of your life and make decisions that you don't want to.
I was once in a relationship, and it was not healthy, and I wasn't aware of what it was doing to me. I stopped doing the things that I love to do. One of those things would be art. It seemed like as if it tore my spirit down, and people, they saw that, they noticed that. I feel like now it's a chapter in my life that I closed, but I feel like I've lost so much time during while in that relationship, and now just trying to recognize that I have to like move on, and I have to move on from that chapter guess trying to stop making up that time and instead living in now.
So I can't do anything to change the past, but I can change my now and create my future. And I heard somebody said, I won't let what you did to me define my future. And that really stuck with me, because I won't let that experience define what my life is going to be in the future. I want to define that myself, not an experience that I cannot change.
I actually abuse myself more than anyone has ever abused me, whether it be sexually, mentally, physically, verbally. I abuse myself by making decisions that were not for my highest good, not honoring myself in all these situations. The people that did engage in some abusive behavior with me, what helped me to forgive them was to see them as children and even research a little bit into what they went through. It's not an excuse by any means. It helped me to see them as a child, as a hurt child, which is what a lot of us humans are, hurt children who haven't resolved our issues, and we keep repeating it. It keeps coming up until we love it and resolve it and heal it. And like I said, when I consciously realized, I was blaming, oh, he did this to me and she did that to me and that's why I'm doing this. And then I came to the center in me, and it was like a mirror, and I saw that I had abused myself more than anyone had abused me. And it really helped me to forgive others then, because they couldn't top what I did to myself, and I understood that their abusive behavior is coming from their wounds.
Like I noticed somebody, speak to somebody, kind of how I didn't appreciate it, but I was able to let that person be themselves and share the world with them truly. I couldn't change their perception or what was coming out of their mouth. I had to just accept that person, and after that helped me to not create a wall for that person, because I could have blocked him from getting closer to me or to really learning him. But since I didn't judge him, I was able to meet him and know him more and see the cool things about him and all that. And then also express how I felt, how he was speaking, wasn't right.
Before I found out my mom had cancer, me and her would fight all the time. We just didn't have that communication, that every mom and daughter should have. And we would fight over everything. And then there was a day she told me, I went to the doctors and they told me that I have some lumps right here, and they told me I might have cancer. We take dancing classes now, 3 times a week, and it's I'm there with my mom, and I feel like she's my best friend now. And before it was we didn't really talk, we didn't really do anything. She was always working, I was always in school doing basketball, and sometimes I regret leaving basketball, but sometimes I don't, because I can actually spend time with my mom and stuff. And I'll go out for walks and we can talk about things that we couldn't before, and it makes me feel good, because I think moms are the only ones that can give you the best advice ever. And so now we're just happy and stuff, and everything's gone, so I don't know, I'm really happy about that.
You have this life, and you have this body, and you have these challenges, and you have dreams, and past traumas to overcome. So this is really important that each person do their work to do this and to love themselves.
That if you can love yourself, the whole world gets better, I'd like to say. Things that seem really bleak and really unbearable, kind of you more grasp the meaning to why those things happen, and you just wake up feeling better. You don't get so many judgmental thoughts against yourself once you truly accept and love yourself. That's something I learned.
And that's a lot of it, is just self-forgiveness, because we came here to heal those parts. And if we just go through and just want to, say that other people need to change or not be that way, it's us. It's always me that needs to do the inner work. And then it's just amazing how once I correct it within myself and say, hey, I'm the one that's been angry. I'm the one that has anger issues, not that guy over there or my sister or my mother or my brother. It's me. It's amazing how quickly that'll come into play that, all right, you've touched on a good thing and things are starting to improve, starting to heal.
I think a lot of things, just in general in life and such, are done based on people's emotions or thoughts towards themselves or towards someone else.
Never make any important decision on a day that you're sad or a day that things aren't feeling like they're going good for you. You make decisions about who you are as a person on a day that you feel good. Because that is when you're feeling bad, it's those days, it's that discipline to remain constant to your beliefs that builds your character. Because it's I have to know in my heart that, I'm not going to call people a name just because I'm angry at them. I'm not going to manipulate them. I'm not going to control them. I'm not going to try my hardest just to hurt them back, even if they're hurting me, because I'm not going to like myself a week from now or 2 weeks from now. So when you're in the heat of it, when you really feel like calling that, and see, that's the human part, is I feel like calling people names, and I feel like, man, maybe I could just smack you right in the face sometimes, but I stop myself because I know I've made a decision on those good days of my life who I wanted to be.
I don't know. It's very strange. I don't really know. I eventually end up coming out of it. I don't know how. Out of destructive patterns or habits or people, I eventually do come out of that. But I also think that we have a really strong power to, even if these people are attracted to us, we can almost kind of combat that negativity and help them see on a brighter scale, a different light, almost like a divinatory light.
Say one day in this school, I was new to this school, and this guy, I don't know if that's good, because he, I'm from a different race, so he came up to me and told me that, what does Beaner mean? They asked me, because there were a bunch of them, so he asked me, what does Beaner mean? And I wasn't really getting, I wasn't thinking he was trying to be mean, or he actually meant what that means. So I did got mad at the point, but then I talked to my friends, and they were all wanting to do something about it. So I decided to actually talk to the kid and explain what people use Beaner to talk to us. And after I explained the whole thing, the kid actually felt kind of bad asking me that question. He actually thought about how we think about it and how we feel when they say that, and how they use it as a racist comment. And so he changed, I guess, I don't know, but he changed his mind, and I actually felt sorry about asking the question because he was trying to be mean, and he actually said sorry to me afterwards and explained it. So instead of doing something to him, I decided to talk to him.
If I do what's good for me and make myself happy and learn to love myself, others will love me and think about what's good for me, and I do the same for them.
I don't know, example would be for me anyways, would be my mom passed away when I was really young, and I loved her a lot. She was obviously my mother. And for a really long time, I was separated from myself because I didn't know how to handle that, and I didn't really have anyone or anything to hold on to or any of that. So I was gone from myself for a really long time. And it took me a lot of like talking to other people and being involved in different activities and people like telling me in different group therapies in order for me to understand and come to a conclusion about my own self and my own being, and to be comfortable with my mom's death and realize that that is not a part of me, and that I am still a self and I can still grow and I can still learn to love and I can still flourish, you know, even after all that trauma and after all of that. And for me, that helped and that worked, looking at myself as that, you know, that I'm not just the things around me and I'm not just a product of my environment, but I am human and I can do extraordinary things. And that made me love myself a lot. I think that was a big part of that.
So I struggled a lot with self-confidence and such. Like a lot of people have struggled with, you know, depression, anxiety, whatnot. Mental health things, you know, anorexia, etc. But one of the things that some people haven't really experienced is that I was born with a cleft lip, and that was a really big confidence issue because, you know, not only was I even more different than other people, but it was like the difference wasn't exactly all in my head. Like, it was just so noticeable, so visible, that I guess I could have seen it and looked at it as a positive thing, a neutral thing, or a negative thing, but it just seemed more out there than other things, and it made me more vulnerable, and I took it in the negative sense, and I haven't liked it since. So, my first surgery was when I was 8 weeks old. Last summer, that just passed. I had another surgery reconstructive surgery, partly for confidence issues, just because half of my face grew and the other half didn't really, and also for health issues that are deviated septum, so I couldn't really breathe out of my nose. So anyways, so I was hoping that would boost my confidence, and it hasn't really, and I think that kind of just proves that it kind of starts from the inside, you know, even though I was able to fix my face. I've actually felt worse about my nose now that that's happened. And I'm not really sure why that is, but I feel like my cleft lip and my kind of unevenness of my face was something a lot more unique about myself that other people didn't have. And so I felt more confident because I had something different to share. So it's kind of a positive thing in that sense. And when I lost that, it just, yeah, my confidence just kind of, you know, down the drain. Just kind of felt like, well, now I'm a little bit more like everyone else, and that's not exactly what I was hoping to happen. So,
and that we have that template that there's a little card that's your directions that are not anybody else's directions.
My whole younger years were trying to please others, trying to do what I thought they wanted me to do. I never felt powerful. I always felt I was only as good as the next person that told me I was. And so there was no internal work or, you know, appreciating myself or how wonderful I am, or, no, there was none of that. None of that. So I didn't get it until the burden, the suffering became strong enough.
You know, we're only here, the older I've gotten, this trip is really getting short. And I realize that with me, it's going to be, you know, in a blink of the eye, and I might not be here. You know, so, you know, I want to embrace all those human things. Sadness is human. Getting old is human. Love is human. You know, being disappointed is human. I want to stay on the good side more than I want to be on the bad side, but it's those other things that have really taught me who I was. It's those lonely times.
It takes a lot more work to hold on to darkness, like hatred and spite and grudges and really negative things. And it takes a toll on you physically and mentally. And eventually when you overcome it is when you find the most beautiful parts of yourself. And that I've experienced it several times with people, and all it's done is make my heart, you know, bigger and more open. And the weight that's lifted when you can find that in yourself is like gold.
You know, what really matters is how we relate to each other. You know, that's what really counts.
I also sort of have this theory that when we get to the end of our life, we're going to be able to have a chance to think about all the things that have happened, or look at it, or reflect on it. And we wouldn't see ourselves sitting here in the garden, but what you'll see is, you'll see the love, and you'll be able to see and feel the love and reflect on that. And so the containers and the forms will just all fade away, and all that will show up will be sort of how we were showing up in the moment, how much love we were sharing with people.
For me, I made mistakes a lot, early on in life with addictions and drugs and partying and, basically careless attitude, which I think most people go through when they're in their adolescence and stuff. And I got into trouble with it. I became a person that I no longer recognized, and I didn't like who I was. I didn't like the way I was acting. And so for me, I gave up drugs. I gave up alcohol. I sat on a rock. I thought about what I was doing and who I was and where I started, and I went back to childhood for me. I remembered being 5 and about the stories we were talking about earlier, about getting up in the morning and just being elated to run outside and flip the rocks over to see the worms and the bugs. And I had my favorite trees I climbed, and I remember being really happy. And I remember being so confident. I could do anything. A 5-year-old thinks they can, they could pick a tree up if it was small enough to fit in their hand, And it was that confidence, and it was my memory of remembering how confident and how loving and how happy I was, that when I became broken as a young adult, I went back and I thought, I know who I am.
But I'm happy to have love in me, and I'm happy that I can exalt it to other people, because that means a lot to me as I'm in this world, because yeah, it's gonna be part of my path, spreading the love.
So when I was younger, I think I was in touch with this love sometimes, not all the time. But if I would have been more, I think I would have been able to be more myself and not just try and be like everyone else in terms of, looks and fashion and behaviors. I think I would have had a richer family experience instead of going into rebellion. I think I might have been able to have more compassion for how hard my parents were working and how difficult their lives were. I could have maybe, been a better part of the family team to help things go well for everyone, and for myself, of course.
My mom used to play a lot of music, and every morning I'd wake up and I'd see her playing piano, and that's something she loved to do. And it just it fascinated me. So she'd just have all this emotion. She never learned how to read music or anything, but she could play whatever. She had that skill where she could play whatever, and I think that stemmed from the passion and the love. So she could just play, and I just remember one morning I woke up and I went to the piano, and I was just sitting there, and I just started playing, and I was crying. And I don't know why I was crying, but I was just profusely crying, not because I was sad or anything, just because of the notes, and I could hear the music, and I was just creating this, and something clicked in my brain about creativity and love and the passion of the music. And my mom saw that, and ever since she saw that, she sat next to me and she started playing. And then ever since that moment, I just loved music.
My family is always gonna come first, you know, like I'm always gonna love them and like, I don't know, like just I feel the same love that I love me to my family, you know, I love my family, I love myself the same way.
I'm here to help people, I really do, and I think if you're selfless enough to take a look at all the things that you need to do here on earth for other people, then all of the good things come to you in the end too. And that's what I've told my friends. I'm here to touch many, 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 many people's lives. Not just one person. I wasn't somebody's lover. I'm not just somebody's mother. I'm not just somebody's daughter. I'm here to touch many, many, many people's lives. All of us are. Every single one of us. And if you're the one shutting the door to that responsibility, you're going to get a lot of flack until you're able to see it, you know. But we can help a lot of people just by a smile, you know, just by a smile.
It just feels like love. It feels like a heart opening, and it feels like joy, and it feels like it's the whole reason why we came. And like all the other things, the jobs that we have and the schools that we go to and, you know, the errands that we run, it feels like all of those other things are just architectures that have been set up for us to have these little, you know, divine meetings with each other.
We need to travel these avenues of self-care of the body, self-care of the mind, and watch or be aware of what are we saying about ourselves, what are projections have we owned, what's the condition of our heart.
You can forget about the bad stuff at that moment because you don't care about nothing else but you feeling good inside.
I feel like better. I feel like less upset, like just more positive overall.
I just would have been me more sooner because I am that person now. I'm the person I want to be, and I love that person.
Like a cloud is hugging you and you just feel like nothing can stop you. Like you just always positively can accomplish anything, which I believe that we can.
I can feel the most overwhelming love, joy, peace, faith, hope, and then the next minute I can just go into envy, jealousy, anger, desperation. And I feel like my journey right now is to find the love in all those so that I can be more balanced and harmonious and not to shift so much. And opening those doors, those little caves inside of me, and finding out what it is that I felt ashamed to bring out. Because I believe those dark experiences, those dark aspects of us offer us sometimes the most strength and creative energy that can propel us on our life path in so many different amazing ways. We just have to really allow them to speak and be heard and loved instead of hiding them and being ashamed. And so that's where I am.
And that's really how I feel. I look at all those moments when I maybe didn't love myself, or really I can't even say when I didn't love myself, when I didn't love other people, because that's what I think. It feels so interconnected. All those moments when I wasn't in my greatest sense of love, either for myself or for another. And man, they just are doorways and doorways and doorways. And I am so grateful. I am so grateful. I'm gonna start crying. I'm so grateful for every single doorway that kept opening and opening and opening. So when I look at my students who aren't in a joyful spot or aren't in their greatest sense of who they could be or don't love themselves, I just see them at a doorway, and I'm just grateful that they have one here. There they are, right at their doorway. And this is their doorway. It's going to open up, and on the other side of it is going to be a greater sense of love for themselves and for the world. And I wouldn't take away their doorway.
Oh, I am inside you and you are in me. We come together so naturally. There is no reason to think we're not free. to experience this reality. Oh yeah, hey, wah, hey, yeah, hey, wah, hey. Yeah, hey, wah, hey, yeah, hey, wah, hey. Yeah, hey, wah, hey, yeah, hey, wah, hey, yeah. Yeah, hey, wah, hey, yeah, hey, wah, hey. So love one another, your heart is set free. Loving yourself, you're in love with me. Seeing clearly, you're seeing for me. Experiencing exactly what we're born to be. We are experiencing exactly what we're born to be. Yeah, 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 hey, wah, hey, yeah, hey, wah, hey. 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 In the valley of darkness, the desert of despair, sink to the source and you'll find me there, trying to reach you through what seems unfair. But in order to reach you, I must strip you bare. In order to reach you, I must strip you bare. Yeah, 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 hey, wah, hey, yeah, hey, wah, hey.
Yeah, he's listening, but he's disinterested. I'm just a pest under the porch irritating him. His mind's on other things to which he's listening. In another world he's living and he's blissing in. I can't reach him anymore without pushing him. In my dreams I walk the shore just missing him. Who's this he anyway? Weave himself through my days while I run this race with society. It's just a wheelbarrow walk with sobriety, getting left behind, run over by the minds of propriety. But there's some kind of rich waiting for me, a gift from Creator who adores me, and she's listening. Every word I say to her is crystalline, crystallized, metabolizing like glycerin. That's the shit that I need, not heroin. And I said, our love is like rubies and gold. Our love is like stories untold. Our love is like nothing you can hold. Indivisible, invisible, under nations built by thieves and criminals. Our love is subliminal, and they don't know the signal. But we'll teach them if they let go of everything they ever thought that they might know. And if they let go, and if they're willing to start themselves spilling and spilling their heart, their mind, their soul, their ego, and start healing and start believing, 'cause this world needs us right now. She's grieving, no one's leaving until this whole universe stops breathing. Yeah, no one's leaving until this whole universe stops breathing. Yeah, no one's leaving until this whole universe stops breathing.